The first step in your ePortfolio assignment is to choose a platform and a template for your ePortfolio and to build a basic structure for your site. That last part might sound a bit scarier than it actually is. Hopefully, this video will make it a little less scary. Let's start by defining some terms: platform and template. Actually, let's start by talking about how the internet works. When you access a website, you use a browser like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Internet Explorer. When you type in a web address into that browser, it actually kind of works like a physical address, telling the browser where to go, what server to access in order to display the web page. At that address, the browser reads the particular languages used to create that website and spits out a visual display according to those languages. In the old days, that language was likely to be Hypertext Markup Language, or HTML. Nowadays, your web page is probably made up of a mixture of multiple languages: HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, maybe some other stuff that I'm not super familiar with, to be totally honest. Okay, that's how the internet works. In the olden days, again, if you wanted to create your very own website, you had to do a couple of kind of complicated things. You had to write your web page in those computer languages I mentioned, and you had to either host the page on your own server or purchase space on someone else's server. Nowadays, with website creation platforms like WordPress and Wix, you don't have to do all that. Essentially, those platforms act kind of like a middleman. They provide you with both website templates, so you don't have to know computer languages in order to create a page, and server space, so you don't have to create your own server in order to host the page. So that's what a platform does. A template is essentially a set of prefabricated web pages that you customize to a certain degree and in which you can put your own content. Some platforms like Wix use what's called a WYSIWYG template, or what you see is what you get, meaning you work within the visual interface of the site. Other platforms like WordPress have you work a little bit more piecemeal, using something kind of like a word processor to add your content and then letting you adjust some of the visual content using different settings. There are other website platforms available for you to use, but the ones that I typically recommend are WordPress, Wix, and Google Sites, because I'm the most familiar with those, and that means I can help you troubleshoot if you encounter problems. Now, which platform you choose should depend on a couple of things, like how easy the platform is to use and your own level of proficiency with that platform. For example, if you're already a WordPress pro, you don't need to use Wix or Google Sites, though you can if you want, and vice versa. If you don't know any of those platforms, it might be worth it to play around a bit with them before you commit to one, though you don't really have a ton of time to experiment before this part of the assignment is due. Another thing to consider when choosing a platform is what comes with the free version. Have you ever heard that saying, "There's no such thing as a free lunch"? Well, that's true with websites too. WordPress and Wix both offer free versions of their services, but unless you shell out some money, your web address will include the name of the platform in it, and you'll probably have ads somewhere on your site. I think the same is true with Google as well. That being said, for the purposes of this class, you don't have to purchase anything from either of these platforms. The free versions will work just fine for our purposes. However, if you're working on the Public Technical and Workplace Writing Certificate, you'll want to make sure that the platform you pick allows you to embed video and audio into the actual web pages, rather than linking it to an outside site like YouTube or SoundCloud. Embed just means that the video or audio media is visible right there in the page, rather than linked and then you click the link and go again to another site like YouTube or SoundCloud. The certificate rubric for the ePortfolio requires that you embed the media content right in the page, rather than just linking it. So if you're pursuing the certificate, make sure that you can do that with the platform and template you choose. Finally, one last thing you might want to consider when choosing a platform and template is how expensive are the upgrades if you decide you want to do so. Again, you don't have to upgrade your site for this class. You don't have to pay for anything for your site for this class. But if you finish the ePortfolio and decide you really like it and you do want to get rid of those ads and you want to purchase your own domain name, you'll want to make sure ahead of time that the platform you chose has plans that are within your price range. Okay, those are the basics. I'm going to take a few minutes now to give you virtual tours of WordPress, Wix, and Google Sites, just so you have an idea of what you might be working with. If you're not interested in the virtual tours, you can stop watching now.
Okay, so here is WordPress. First, you'll need to, of course, make a WordPress account, but because I already have one, I was able to just click the button in my dashboard that says add a new site, and it took me here. But I'm going to, instead of kind of giving you a behind the scenes of a site I already have, I'm going to walk you through basically the entire process. So it'll take you to, once you click add a new site, it'll take you to this page. And I'm going to say ignore this because I don't really know how this version of WordPress works. I know how this version of WordPress works. So we're going to use this one for the tutorial. So you click start now and it takes you to a couple of, it asks you some questions, kind of like with Wix. So what do you want to name your site? So we'll do you can see I actually tried to record this earlier and it didn't work very well, so I'm doing it again. But let's do Dr. Clayson's test site. Oh, come on. Well, part due. There we go. It will be about portfolio. And once you start typing something, it actually gives you these options. So I believe before I clicked professional portfolio, so let's just click that again. And then what's the primary goal? Again, down here, showcase your portfolio. You can read through this other stuff, and if you think something else fits you better, that's fine. But for this class, really, it's going to be showcase your portfolio. Okay, so now you will give your site an address. Let's just call it test site part due because it's going to give me the same options anyway. Okay, so first things first, it's going to try to sell you your own unique domain name. So that's basically the website address. So it can sell me testsitepartdue.blog for $22 a year or testpartdue.site for $25 a year. I don't want that because I'm not going to actually use this site. And you probably don't want that because you may not want to keep the site after this class, or you might not care about having your own domain name. So just come down here to testsitepartdue.wordpress.com, which is free, and click select. All right, now they're going to try to sell you some more stuff. So the domain name is one thing that you would have to buy if you want to create your own, .com, or so like I pay for ashleyclayson.com because that's where I have my own site, my own ePortfolio. But it's more academia focused, so it's not really good to, it doesn't do what I'm asking you to do. So that's why I've not necessarily shared it with you before. Feel free to go check it out if you want to, but know that it's kind of old and I haven't updated it in a while. So anyway, they're going to try and sell you more stuff. So more stuff being if you want email and live chat support, if you want that custom domain name included in your plan. It will also give you more space depending on how much space you need. So if you're going to be uploading like 1 million videos, one of these other pay for, paid sites might be what you want. But for this class, you're not going to be uploading 1 million videos, so you really just need the free site, which, oh, looky there, it is best for students, and it costs $0. So let's go ahead and click Start with Free. And yay, site's almost ready. And here it is again trying to sell me my own domain name by saying, oh, if you want to get found on Google or Bing, you should have your own domain name rather than a WordPress.com domain name, but it's fine. Okay, so once you have your site, when you log in to WordPress, it will take you to this basic dashboard kind of page with this little menu on the left-hand side here, which is what you'll use to basically do anything. So I usually don't pay a ton of attention to my dashboard, but it will tell you, how many people have, or how many views your pages have, how many, or your site has, how many visitors, how many likes if you have a blog post, how many, people have liked a post, similar to Facebook. Comments will appear here, or numbers for comments will appear here. This is totally blank for this site because it's brand spanking new. So And WordPress was doing something a little strange, so I'm actually going back to that Dr. Clayson's test site. So that's the URL that we'll be working with and whatnot. So I'm basically just going to show you the main things that I use when I edit a site in WordPress, so that you can see how everything works. So the the three big things that I use is the site pages, the blog posts, and customize. We're not doing a blog in this class, so you won't really need to use blog posts. But for future reference, if you want to have a blog in the future, that's where you would go to add a post. Okay, so let's just go to site pages. When you click here, like if you click add, it will take you directly to the page editor. But I wanted to show you this page first because it shows you, okay, here are all the pages you have. The pages where your blog posts go is actually the front page, which we'll talk about a little bit later, how to change that if you want, which I generally suggest because we're not doing a blog in this class. And then there's also an About Me page that I created earlier and the contact page, which comes with this template. And if you want to edit any of these pages, you click on it and it takes you to the page editor. And you can edit the text. Dr. Clayson is a, what am I? Lecturer, let's say an instructor at the University of West Florida. She teaches digital writing and STEM writing. There we go. All right, so that's some editing. Then I want to go up here and click update. And you can see it says page updated. And we could visit the page if we want to. I'm not going to do that yet because you'll see it later. So we're going to close the page editor. And then we're going to come over here and click add to create a new page, just so you can see what that looks like. As you can see, it's basically the same thing. It's just the same editor. It just doesn't have anything attached to it. So let's see, let's add a page. Portfolio. There you go. And you'll notice that it automatically creates the URL for that page. So it's drclaysontestsite.wordpress.com/portfolio. If you wanted to change that, there's part of it you can customize. You don't have to, it's automatic, but if you want to change it, you can. Okay, and then basically this works just like a kind of like a word processor. So let's see, Dr. Clayson has several years experience in content creation, mostly video and audio. There we go. I don't know. And then say I want to add video essay. Ooh, that needs a title. Or that needs to look like a title. I'll put that as heading 1, video essay. Then we can go in here and add media, and then I can click add new, but I'm not going to do that because it'll show you all my files, even my, I don't know, all of the super secret anime fan art that I have. I don't actually have that, but whatever. You're not going to get to see my files. So I'd click add new and upload whatever I want to upload. And it can be a video, it can be audio, basically anything you want to upload. Just about anything you want to upload, you can upload. And then it'll give you some settings that you can adjust. And that's how you can upload different media. But I'm going to click cancel. So, you can embed the media right there, podcast, episode, however you want to do it. You can also, of course, as I believe I mentioned in other or I will mention in the other you can also just create a new page for each project that you include. That's up to you, however you do that. But anyway, so let's go ahead and publish this page just to have it published. So when you click publish, you have a couple of options. You can either update it or publish it immediately, or you can schedule when you want it to be published. You can also restrict who can access it once it's published. So if you want it to not be accessible to the public, but you want the admin of the page, like say yourself, and any editors you add, so you can add people to the site like me. If you want to, if you want just those people to be able to see it, you can click admins and editors. And if you want kind of if you want someone to be able to access the page of the site, but you don't want them to be able to control anything on the site, so like you don't want them to be able to add a page, you can password protect a page. And this is good for if you've got some, a project from something you've done that maybe it's work for a company and it's totally, it's all, what's the word I'm looking for? It's proprietary, but you want potential employers to be able to see it, but you don't want the whole world to be able to see it. So that would be a good reason to password protect a page. But I'm not going to really go into that right now. Just know that that exists. So we're just going to put publish immediately and public. There we go. It's published. It's a really awful looking page, but we're not doing a whole lot to it. So okay, now let's close this. Actually, let's go back to that so I can show you. As with the, no. We want to update. We want to preview. Where's the preview? There we go. Let's go to preview. As with the other sites, you can preview it either in desktop mode, in tablet mode, or in phone mode. I believe Wix and Google Sites will also let you do this as well. But I just wanted to show you that's how you check that out. Okay. Now let's go down to customize. So you can either click customize and we can customize this particular page, this particular template. We'll do that for a little bit and then I'll show you how to change the template if you want to. So let's start with site identity. You can change the title of the site. Let's just capitalize my name. There you go. Digital content creator. There you go. So this is the menu. Oh yeah, so this is basically what you can change at the front page. You can change what the footer looks like down here. I usually don't mess with that, but you can if you want. You can also create a little favicon up here. So if you want a different logo besides the WordPress logo up there, you can change that, but you have to, you basically have to create one yourself. So I usually don't deal with that either. You can also add a site logo, which I believe will add something up here. Oh, and it looks like you can include a, oh no, that's not what I thought it was. Just kidding, I don't want that. The header, I thought it would go up here, but it looks like it goes below the menu, which that's kind of annoying, but whatever. All right, so let's go back. We don't really want to customize the header image. We can change the fonts if we want to. Ta-da! So that you notice that changed both the blog post title and the title of the page, the title of the whole website. The base font you can also change. Let's try something sans serif. Sure. There we go. So that changed the menu font and the whatever tagline font and basically all the rest of the fonts. I actually don't recommend this font for the heading because it's not terribly readable. But there you go. So they're back to default fonts. I just clicked the little X right here, but you can change them if you want to. All right, what else? You can change colors and backgrounds. So you can change the background color of your site. On different templates, that will mean different things. But in this one, it looks like it changes the changes the sort of behind the white page. So this page stays white, but then the background can change. Let's see what palettes. Oh, okay, fancy. We can change the whole palette of the site. It doesn't actually look like it's making huge changes, but you can do that if you want. And that will be different from template to template. Let's see what else. Header image, we looked at that. Menus. You can create a new menu. You can adjust this menu. So this is the primary menu. If you have a secondary menu, you can create a secondary menu here and choose where to put it. Your theme can display menus in 2 locations, so you can either put it under the header or in a different place. Apparently this also enables you to have a social menu, but I haven't hooked up any of my social media because this isn't my actual site, but just know that you can do that. Okay, what else can we do? Content. So anytime you have a blog post, you can toggle what all on the post you want it to display. So you don't have to display the date, you don't have to display the category or the author. If it was a blog where multiple people contribute, but you didn't want to display the author, you could do that. You can also choose to only have a post excerpt on the front page if you have your blog on the front page. There's a lot of things you can do. You're not really going to dilly-dally there too long. You can add some widgets. These are all footer widgets. You can play around with those and see if there's anything you like there. Homepage settings. This is an important one. So right now, this website is basically set up to include your blog on the homepage, and basically your blog will be the main page, and then you go to other pages as you want. Portfolio, whatever, and then you go back to the homepage to get back to the blog. However, what I recommend for most everyone in this class is to have a static page be your front page. And you can either create a whole new page that says home or use your about page as the static page, however you want to do that. And then if you do have a blog, you can create a main posts page where all of your posts will show up. Because we're not doing a blog in this class, I recommend the static page because you really won't have any latest posts unless you just go out of your way to create a blog along with your portfolio, but that is not a requirement for this class. And take it from someone who has continually tried to be a semi-academic blogger on a fairly regular basis, but I usually end up posting once or twice a semester. It's really hard to blog when you are, doing academic work full time. So static page, I recommend it. Okay, and then, so let's just put that there. You can click publish to save it. But even though we've done all of that, let's go over here back to the main dashboard in your main menu here and click themes, because this is how you change the major look of the site. There were little things that we could tweak on that template, but if we want a totally different look for the site, we're going to have to get a different template. Now, you notice here's the current theme that you're using. These are ads. You can search for something and or you can just have them all come up. And I usually sort them by just the free ones because I don't pay for premium templates. So let's see, let's just click, I think this is this is the one we're using right now. Let's see, there are a lot that are very image heavy, which are great, but you tend to then see the same stock images over and over again. So it's not necessarily bad that you use an image heavy template. In fact, a lot of, portfolios now are image heavy, even for writers. It just means you have to choose images that represent your work, and that can be kind of difficult when you're working with the same set of stock images, excuse me, when you're working with the same set of stock images as everyone else. So let's focus on, this one looks kind of, this one looks like it's text heavy, so let's go with that. Info. So if you click info, it takes you to some information about the thing. You can also preview it a little bit more, but the other thing you can do, oh, come on. You have to click free again. Where was it? Right here. So let's click these 3 little buttons and click live demo. This is where you can really come in and see what all they offer. And then you can either click here, try and customize, or you can click it on the other page. But let's just go ahead and click try and customize. And now you have change your website theme. So now this looks totally different. You have a different background. You can, change the colors and such. You can see how different it looks. There you go. But it's totally different. So portfolio, and you can see the home page is now the static About Me page. Okay, that is WordPress in a nutshell. Now let's move on to Wix and Google Sites. Okay, so here we are at Wix.com, and I've got a Wix account, so it logs me in and takes me to this page showing all of my sites. I have quite a few because I've been added to student sites. I've created my own sites just to kind of play around. I've led some workshops, so I wanted to create something for them to play around with as well. But let's just go up here to create a new site so I can show you the process from start to finish. So Wix will ask me, what kind of website do you want to create? Business, etc., portfolio, and CV. That's what I'm going to go ahead and click. And now it gives you two options. Let the Wix ADI create a website for you, or create your website with the Wix editor. So the Wix editor gives you more control over the site. Then there are some things that you can't really do with the ADI. However, the ADI interface is supposed to be more simple. Honestly, whenever I've had students use Wix, they often start out with the ADI, but then at some point they switch over to the editor because there are just things that the ADI won't let you do. Usually it has to do with tweaking things visually in particular ways, or it might have to do with the way they want you to add content. But I don't remember the specifics of those instances, but it has always been someone will start with ADI and then have to switch over to editor because they want to tweak something and the ADI won't let you. So I'm going to go ahead and click choose a template in the editor. And so then it takes me to the templates. I'm going to click one that's not super visuals heavy because this isn't a visual photography class. I'm going to view this one. It's pretty popular. I've had several students use a version of this. They really like it. It's pretty simple, so that's really nice. You see there's got a spot for your name, your title, a home button, a resume, spot for your resume if you want to include that, a spot for your projects, which is perfect for a portfolio, and then a contact page. And it gives you a contact form instead of, well, it's got some information here, but don't feel like you have to include that because that's personal information and spammers and bots can get that. So so this is, again, giving you a preview of the template. I'm going to click out of this. No, actually, it looks like I can just go ahead and click Edit this site. And it's like, hey, you've chosen this template. Here we go. One thing that's different between Wix and WordPress and Google Sites, I'm not sure how Google Sites does this, but with WordPress, you can change templates after you've selected one. With Wix, I believe once you select a template, you're kind of stuck with it unless you want to create a whole new site. So make sure you really like the template that you're using, or be prepared to, if you want to change, be prepared to totally change everything. So just something to think about there. So basically, this is one of those things that I mentioned in the video earlier, a WYSIWYG editor. What you see is what you get. That means if I want to edit something, I click on it, and then it allows me to change it. So here I can upload a new image so that it's not this stock model, like it's actually me. I can click on the name up here and change my name from Nicola Ryder to Dr. Clayson. Digital writing instructor. You could put digital content creator, something like that. So you see you're editing things right in the interface. And it gives you these prefab pages. If you want to edit a different page than the home page, you go up here to page and you click resume or you click projects. And it'll give you a spot to upload, you change the, I think this is a button. No, it's just a container box. You can make something a button, and it gives you prefab images, which you will want to change if you use this template. You want it to be either the actual media itself, and you can go into Manage Media, um, hopefully. There we go. So you can add media, and this should be where you can actually upload your actual video or your actual MP3 file for your podcast, and insert that media directly into this little box. And then of course you title it, and you have a little bit of description. What else? If you want to add something, just in general, you either add, let's see. Oh, if you want to add a page, you go to Manage Pages, and then you click Add a Page here. Let's try that. Add page. Some other, oops, it's in all caps, so let's make it fun. I don't know. Fun stuff. That's not really a good thing to put in a professional web page, but it was the only thing I could think of. So there you go. We've got a new page, and I can go up here and edit page fun, or it automatically takes me to the fun page. So if I want to add elements on this site, I can add text, I can add an image. So let's add a heading. Add a heading 1. There you go. Plops it right in the middle of the page. Fun. Oops, fun stuff. Sure, I don't know. Okay, so then we can actually move this around on the page, and it will give us these guides so that it can line up and your alignment can be really nicely. So let's just move this all the way to the top. There we go. Okay, anyway, I could fool around with that all day long, but we're not gonna. And then we can add more text. Oh, look, a paragraph. Let's add a paragraph. We want to add a paragraph. There we go. Again, line it up. Boom. You can add apps. This is things like if you want to link your Instagram feed, or if you want to add your resume in PDF format as opposed to directly on the using text on the page, you can do that. I haven't really messed around with this stuff, so I can't really help you out a lot there. If you do want to try it and you run into some trouble, there are ways I can still help you troubleshoot, but it's not really my forte. What else? You can also just upload something directly into your sort of page that will then be accessible via the add button. So if you want to add images, videos, documents, what have you. This one is you can change the background color. Ooh, you can animate it. That's probably a terrible idea. It'll take forever to load, and people don't actually really like animated backgrounds for websites anymore, we've discovered. You can add another menu, or you can adjust the menu here. You can add pages here. And then I believe that's Wix in a nutshell. There are clearly lots of buttons and things that I didn't show you. Oh, here's one other thing that I should show you. It will give you, show you how your site will look in desktop and mobile view. So let's switch to mobile. So this is what it looks like in mobile. There you go. Okay, let's skip this. You can go through that tutorial if you want. This is the menu button. So that's really helpful if you want your site to be easily viewable on mobile, which you do. So let's switch back to desktop. Okay, there you go. So I would suggest at least spending a little bit of time in the mobile, making sure that your site at least looks attractive still in the mobile view. Just remember that websites look differently on a desktop than it does on the mobile, and Wix gives you the option to preview the mobile version as well. Okay, that's Wix in a nutshell. Again, I suggest getting into these different platforms and playing around with them a little bit, just so that you can give it a shot before really committing to one. So that's Wix. Okay, so let's take a look at Google Sites. I'm not actually as familiar with Google Sites as I am with WordPress and Wix, so there might be a little bit more sort of exploring as I give this tutorial, but bear with me. I've also gone ahead and clicked a couple of buttons to get me to this new site. I didn't want to screen capture how to get into Google Sites, because then I would have had to show you all of my email and the other sites that people have shared with me, and I wanted to preserve both my own privacy and the privacy of people who are emailing me and sharing their Google Sites with me. So basically, here's a screen capture of the button that you press to get to Google Sites. Then you scroll down and click Google Sites. And then once you click Google Sites, you will see this page, another screen capture. and it will show you all the sites that you've got so far. And if you don't have any sites, I'm sure it will say something like, hey, get a new site. And you will see this button over here on the left that says create new or something like that. I forget exactly what it says. You want to click, I highly suggest new Google Sites because old Google Sites was really clunky and visually very unappealing. New Sites is much more visually appealing, so I highly recommend that. I also think it's easier to use from what I've heard. So I clicked that button and it took me to this page, and it's already given me a little pop-up that says select your audience. You can now specify who can view your published site using the share icon. So if I want to restrict it to just people at UWF or only me or anyone can edit or can share it, if you don't want to make it public at first, in other words, you can restrict who can see it. So I'm going to not play with that feature right now, but just know that it's there. Okay, so up here you see we've got the title of the site, and then we've got the page title, and then you've got a couple of buttons up here, preview. So this is sort of what the site will look like. So let's go ahead and click preview. Then it just shows me what the site will look like in the actual browser page. And as with Wix, I can preview it on a large desktop screen. I can preview it, what it would look like on a tablet, and what it would look like on mobile. That is actually a really good feature. Okay, so we're clicking out of the preview. I can also share this site with others. So if you want to share it with me instead of just publishing it while it's a work in progress, you can just share it with me and I can go in and check it out and help you troubleshoot if something goes wrong. Okay, so there's that. Now the way that you add stuff is basically over here in this right-hand side menu. You can add a text box and it automatically appears right there. That's pretty good. Into the text. Ta-da! Here is some text. Let's make this text bold. Let's make it a list. Let's don't make it a list. You can also change the alignment, but I highly suggest you stick with left-hand alignment for most things. You can create a link. You can trash this text box if you want to. You can also change colors. You can duplicate a section. You can delete the section again. Okay. So let's add an image. There we go. We're not actually going to add an image, but this is how you would do it. Let's see. We can also change the header image. You can again upload or select an image from Google. You can change what the banner looks like. So you can have just the title, no image. You can have the banner. You can have a really large banner, which, if you're a visual artist or if you're like a business that likes to feature, like you were a bakery and you wanted to have a big, beautiful shot of the front of your bakery or of your bakery case, that's what you would do. You can also just have the whole picture there. I recommend either banner or title only. But having some sort of a visual component there is fine. Let's see what else. You can also embed something. So once you create your video essay and upload that to YouTube, you can paste the YouTube URL in here and it would, or you can click the HTML code in there. You can probably upload some other stuff, embed some other things in there too. But again, I'm not super familiar with this feature, so play around with it, see what you get. Okay, if I want to add a new page, ta-da, click Pages, and you can see it's got the home page. Here's a little menu of, you can change the title of that menu item if you want to. You can also duplicate the page, see all the properties of the page. Let's do that just to see what's going on. So there's the name. Oh, you can also change the URL path if you want to, but don't. Okay, so add a page. Here we go. You can click new page, or you can add just a link, it looked like. So let's name the page Portfolio. There we go. All right. And now it takes me to the page with Portfolio. You could also have a separate page for every project or however you want to do it, but there you go. You can also change your theme. Let's play around with some of these. Let's see what Aristotle looks like. I know it prefabs you a little image back there. That's cool. Portfolio, vision. Interesting. This is kind of nice because it's got some things implying writing, also a pine cone if you're into that. And it looks like you can also change the style or the color of the basic color scheme around the page as well. Um, so this is how you would change the basic themes. Looks like Google doesn't give you nearly as many themes as WordPress and Wix, but it's also a much more simple interface, it looks like. So if you're feeling really intimidated by having to build a site, Google Sites might be a really good one for you to use. Okay, what else do you want to do? Ah, yes, here. Here are some other things. We're back on the Insert tab. You can insert something directly from Google Drive. You can embed something directly from YouTube. You can embed a calendar. You can embed a map. Um, please don't feel like you have to embed a map. That's a really good feature for like restaurants or businesses. But that's not the purpose of the site, so don't feel like you got to be like, here I am, world, come find me. So those, I think that's it in a nutshell. This is a really basic site. I'm not really gonna keep going. So it seems sort of like WordPress in the fact, well, not really. I'm trying to think, like, because you build the page by page. It's more like WordPress as opposed to Wix will give you a full template and then you can choose, you can either change the components on an individual page or you can add a whole new page and build it from scratch as well. So it seems sort of like a little bit closer to WordPress. And of course, here is your undo button, redo button, and more. What else? Oh, you can have site analytics. That's really helpful. If you want to really track who's looking at your site, you can also duplicate the site. You can add a favicon. That's the little button up here. I'm not necessarily going to tell you how to make those, but I think it basically just means you have to, there's a specific, you can't be bigger than like 512 by 512 pixels, I think. So, oh, or you can select one. Look at that. From an actual image. So maybe it will allow you to do that, and you don't have to be quite so precise as WordPress will allow you to upload a favicon as well, but they're like, it has to be this size, otherwise it's not going to work. So, all right, again, I suggest if you're not really familiar with any of these sites, and you want to become more familiar with them, I suggest you sort of play around with them before selecting one. You can, of course, if you get to, a point in the semester and you're like, I'm so tired of Wix, I want to switch to Google Sites or WordPress. You can do that. But because we spend most of the semester working on the major projects, the video and the audio project, and not quite as much time working on the portfolio, it will probably be, you'll be rushed is what I'm going to say. So it's better to spend a lot of time playing around with stuff up front and make your selection and stick with it than to change later on, but know that you can if you would like to. What is this? This is navigation settings. So you can either choose to have your navigation up here or you can have it on the side, which looks like it's right here. So it pops out. That's interesting. So either way, there you go. So that's it for now. Yeah, have fun exploring.